Hey everyone. So, for the Business Owners Corner this week, I want to chat a little bit about financial literacy for your kids. We've had a couple clients in the financial planning firm comment recently that their kids are becoming adults. Maybe they're enrolling in college or they're in college. And as part of their parental responsibilities and interest in helping their kids grow into responsible adults, they want to teach them sound financial principles so that they get started off on the right foot. There are three concepts I would suggest trying to communicate to your kids when you start having these conversations with them. And the first and the most important one is compound interest. My kids are too young to have this conversation, but when they grow to be the age to where it's going to resonate a little bit, I plan on doing this in front of an Excel spreadsheet. I'm kind of a technical spreadsheet nerd, so this is easy for me to do. But depending on how you want to communicate, it doesn't matter. But the power of compound interest is probably the most important place, and that's where I would start. So the way to explain this is, let's say you have $100 that you're going to invest. And what you're trying to convey is that if you get 10% return on that $100, then after the first year, you have $110. And in the second year, your initial $100 keeps earning 10%, but so does the interest. And so this power of compound interest where your growth gets to grow on its own is what brings us to this hockey stick looking chart if we're to extrapolate that out. So in year one, you start with $100. And if I'm doing this on a spreadsheet, I just have a column and maybe I plug $100 in there. And then in the next cell down, same column, next row down, I would multiply that $100 by 1.1 to imply a 10% return. And then I would do that for every cell underneath that. So at the end of year one, you have $110. In year two, that $110, the $100 you put in plus the growth, that's going to earn interest. And at the end of year two, you end up with $121. And then in year three, the $100 earns 10%, but now you have $21 earning 10%. And so what I would show the kid is the power of compound interest and starting early. And that's another concept I'm going to get to in a minute. And if you create a chart to show that, that's how we get that hockey stick upward chart that's going to resonate with kids. The second thing I would try to convey, so this is point number two, is the importance of taxes. And if you can convince your kid the first time they get a job to start contributing to a Roth IRA, that's the best thing that they can do. And the way that I would convey that is just real simple math. If in the first example you have 10% growth every single year, well, maybe the next example you haircut that growth by 30 or 40% to communicate the taxes that they're going to get to pay on their income. So if instead you're only growing at 6 or 7% rather than 10%, what's the difference long term compared to the 10% growth from example one? So if you can take your savings and invest it for growth, that's going to be powerful. That's what you're trying to communicate first. And secondarily, if you can do that in a way that's shielded from taxes in some manner, through a Roth IRA or a traditional IRA, then that's even better because you can save on taxes. Now, the third concept that I would try to communicate to wrap this whole thing together is the length of time that you're in the market adds to that opportunity for compound growth. And the way I'd communicate this is just come up with a couple examples. What happens if you save $10 a month every single month for 30 years starting at age 30? What if you get 10% per year? You figure out what that is at the end of the 30 years. What if you get 7% because we're incorporating taxes in that? What do you get there after the end of 30 years? And then what I would do is I'd back up the timeline. Well, what happens if instead of starting at age 30 and saving $10 a month every single month for 30 years until you're age 60, what if you back that up and start at age 25? What's the difference in the amount that you end up with at the end of the 30 years? Or in that case, 35 years. Well, what if you back it up another 5 years and start at age 20 instead of 25? And so what you're trying to convey there is that the earlier that you start, the longer that your investments have an opportunity to compound, the drastically better off you're going to be. And if you can add another 5 years or another 10 years to your time horizon, you're going to be in a dramatically better position long term. And that's what you're trying to convey. And so if you can effectively communicate those few points, the wheels are going to start to turn for your kids, and they're going to say, holy smokes, if I, eat fast food a little bit less and eat at home, then I can save that extra $10 a month and go invest that, and I'll be that much better off. And you're trying to lead them to water so that the light bulb goes off of, if I can spend a little bit less, save a little bit more, and continually position that money for growth, that's going to have a dramatic impact on my financial well-being. And that's in a nutshell how I would do it. Compound interest, the impact of taxes, and the benefit of allowing that compound interest to grow and compound for as long as you possibly can. So I hope that's helpful. That's how I would attack it.